Hello, friends! When kind people see animals in trouble, they always rush to their aid, especially if those are baby animals. However, one needs to be very careful, since little fluffballs can turn out to be dangerous predators. Although, the foundlings could also be worth a fortune, and the kindness could pay off. The first story in our episode today happened in the harsh Zabykolsky Krai, Russia. During a walkthrough of his property, a local farmer found 4 abandoned kittens in his barn. They looked like regular gray cats, so without thinking too much about it, the man took them home. Having brought them home, the farmer realized that these kittens were so little that they couldn't even eat on their own yet, so he used a pipette to feed them some milk. The farmer realized that taking care of them would require a lot of time, so he decided to contact the local animal rescue services. When the volunteers arrived, they started voicing their doubts, suspecting that the kittens might not be so ordinary after all. They saw some unusual features: a flat muzzle, large distance between the eyes, and low set ears. Therefore, together with the farmer, they turned to the Daruski Nature Reserve. The staff confirmed that these weren't just ordinary kittens. It turned out that the kittens were actually monuls. It's a rare and little-studied cat species. They are almost impossible to tame, and they live exclusively in the wild. Meanwhile, their price on the black market reaches several $1,000s. The man could have sold the kittens and made good money, but he probably realized that the poor things would suffer in captivity. Therefore, the farmer decided to give the expensive fine to the nature reserve so they would help the kittens and then release them into the wild. The little monuls needed care. The staff managed to find lactating cats in the reserve, and fortunately, they adopted the unusual kittens. The older the monuls got, the more active they became. When they were old enough to live on their own, the staff of the reserve released them into the wild, putting GPS collars on them. However, with the arrival of winter, the young kittens faced challenges that they were not ready for. At some point, the poor animals even lost their collars, and when the staff found them again, the kittens were rather emaciated. Adult monuls are not adapted for indoor life. However, the kittens were taken back indoors. It was decided to let them spend their first winter there, so they could gradually adapt to living in the wild. And when the spring came, the wild cats had grown strong and learned to hunt better, so they were released again. This time, the monuls adapted to the wildlife much better, and now they feel great living in their natural environment. And the next story in our episode takes us to India. As we all know, this hot country has very diverse wildlife. You can't see it in big cities, of course, but wild animals are frequent guests in countryside homes. In 2019, a farmer named Kiran Giri spotted a couple of abandoned kittens in the field. They had been shivering from the cold, since the country got some abnormally cold weather that year. Neither animals nor people were ready for it. The man took pity on the little fluffballs and took them home, fed them, and warmed them up. 3 days later, Kiran began to notice that the kittens were making strange sounds. Instead of the pitiful meowing that is characteristic of domestic cats, the farmer heard them growling. So the man began to suspect that the little kittens he had found could not be kittens at all. Kiran showed the animal to his neighbors, and when they heard the growl, they confirmed the farmer's fears. He had brought home leopard cubs, thinking they were ordinary kittens. The little predators did not pose any danger to their savior, but they could not stay with the man for a long time. Therefore, the farmer reported his find to the local police, who contacted the environmental services. A few hours after he called the police, the leopard cubs had already left Kiran's house. They stayed at the Van Viher Rescue Center for some time, after which they were released into the wild to go live with their own kind. And that's all for today, friends. Share your thoughts on this episode in the comments. What would you have done if you were either of these men? Do you think you would have sold the cubs? Hit the like button. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.